Hello, my name is Brooke and this is my booktube channel, so welcome. So I'm doing the booktube newbie tag just as a quick get to know you and what to expect on this channel and to keep myself accountable for my plans for this channel. The first question, why did I start this channel? I really just wanted to get more involved within the reading community, whether it's on like Book Talk, Bookstagram, and here on BookTube. I've gotten more into reading the past year, and it's something that even though I still love to do it, I have a hard time keeping up with it. I get distracted very easily. I do other tasks. I get more involved on like YouTube or watching TV series that I love, but I really need a space where I set aside time for this hobby that I love, and I feel like this will help me do that. And then what are some fun and unique things you could bring to BookTube? I think I have some fun ideas for like series that I could do where I find books similar to movies that I love, like thriller movies, horror movies, and read the book and kind of compare, even though they're not fully related or based off one another. I feel like that's just a fun way to get other people involved in wanting to give out like really fun book recommendations. I also really want to reread Goosebumps. That's very random, but I want to reread books from my childhood that I really loved, like that, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Honestly, like I would so reread Magic Treehouse. I'm pretty sure that's what the series was called, but it's kind of like going back to fun books that I loved forever ago and revisiting them and seeing what I think of them now. I also have been watching Pretty Little Liars Original Sin lately, and I honestly throw on the original Pretty Little Liars often, and I've been doing that the past few days. And I remember that they had a book series, and I think I read the first one forever ago. I don't know if I was in middle school, probably. I can't remember like that time frame. I would love to reread the first book and kind of go through that series and then comparing that to the show, the spin-off, and just kind of doing a huge like Pretty Little Liars moment. And then I could also do that easily with the Vampire Diaries. So those might be a few things that I want to do. What are you most excited about for your channel? Honestly, just kind of what I've already said, just keeping up with the reading that I want to do. I always have a crazy amount on my TBR, and just kind of motivating myself and inspiring myself to read more and also meet new people. I have a book club that I have with my friend back home that we do virtually. We just read mystery and thriller books, so if you're into that, then you are welcome to join. What do you love reading? I've already said it. I read a lot of like thriller, mystery, horror, and I'm kind of a little more into dark fantasy. I really haven't like dove fully into it, but it's not something I'm fully opposed to. Also, I guess you could call it historical. I have a hard time calling it like historical fiction or historical like fantasy. I think like some of them are kind of like that. I got really into Mary Queen of Scots after watching Reign, and that just kind of opened my eyes to a lot of like royal history, and so books related to that excite me. I've had a few books for a while that are either related to like Queen Elizabeth, Mary Queen of Scots, King Henry VIII and all of his wives. There's a whole series about all of his wives and their lives that is by Philippa Gregory. She's always been highly recommended for like royal history, like setting books. So I don't know, they're just something that's so exciting to me. And even though Reign wasn't fully historically accurate, I think it was a great way to kind of pique interest in history while still being a little entertaining, even though there were like a little bit of fluff added to it. So if you're like slightly interested in that, just very random, I highly recommend Reign. And where do you read? Typically at home, like on the couch or in my bed. I also go to cafes often, but sometimes I get a little distracted, especially if I bring my laptop. So if I'm wanting to go out somewhere and read, I cannot bring my laptop because I will just be on here. When did you start reading? I would say the past 2 years I got back into reading. I read more as a child, obviously, just with school, but I completely fell out of it, really wasn't finding anything that I was interested in, or I didn't really want to, in my mind at that point, waste time sitting there reading something, even though I wasted time sitting watching shows. But yeah, the past 2 years I would say I've gotten more into it, but I definitely want to be more strict about it and reading more than just like 3 books a year. The next 2 questions are kind of tied together. So it's what book series got you into reading? And then the next one is what book got you back into reading? So I'm gonna kind of do like childhood books and then like now adult getting back into reading books. So originally I was in love with Goosebumps, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, and then the House of Night series. It was by, I took notes here, by PC Cast and Kristen Cast. I was searching for this series for the longest time. I started reading that in middle school, I believe, and I just remember the most vague plot points from that book and like one character's name, and I was so desperately trying to find it anywhere, and I would see it in bookstores and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's the book because like the spine looked so familiar. And I never really like talked to anybody about that series. Like I just randomly started reading it in middle school, and I'm just curious if like other people got into that. It looks as if like the design of the cover and everything seems like it would have been popular, but I just never heard anyone talk about it. So that series that's another one I would like to reread and see if I enjoyed it now. And for books that got me back into reading, I would definitely credit The Maze Runner by James Dashner. I watched the movie first. I was a huge Dylan O'Brien fan, so I watched that. Was so in love. Like I feel like everyone had their dystopian series that they were obsessed with, whether it was that, Divergent, Hunger Games, and I was a big Maze Runner person. Like they had a convention and I went. Like I was in love. So after I watched the movie, I went back and read the series. They are amazing. So if you like happen to not ever read the series, I highly recommend that. And then I would also credit Dark Dark Wood by Ruth Ware. This one was like my first thriller, I would say, that really got me back into reading. I really enjoyed it and I definitely want to reread that one as well. That is still surprisingly the only Ruth Ware book that I've read. My mom has read a couple more and she always recommends them, so I definitely want to go check more of hers out, especially after loving that one so much. And then what questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? Honestly, like how do you do it? Like I'm worried about doing this. Part of the reason I'm recording this and wanting to upload is to keep myself accountable for my own hobby that I really want to focus on, but also trying to make me keep up with a channel. And I'm nervous about ditching this channel. I don't think I will. I think I'll still like be inspired to do plenty of stuff, but my main issue is finding the time to do it. So I guess I would ask more so like, how do you find the time to do all of this if you're working other jobs? Like I know some people, they've gotten pretty big on YouTube and they're just able to do this as a living, which is amazing, but that's not me. I'm not able to do that. So I'm just curious how you manage it all. I mean, I feel like I'm pretty good with scheduling and trying to stick with plans. So hopefully if I just like put it into my schedule to record or set time aside to do something for the channel, I'll be able to. But yeah, that would probably be like the question I'd want to know, is like keeping up with everything and like not feeling overwhelmed. And then what challenges will be the hardest with BookTube? I would definitely say feeling like I have to keep up with other people. Again, like some of the bigger booktubers, they read so many books a year. I've never been able to do that. I'll have like 12 books on my goal on Goodreads and I still won't get that, just because life gets in my way or gets ahead of me and I just don't set aside time. So I would say that's probably going to be my biggest hurdle with this, is not getting overwhelmed and then finding the balance between still making this channel like fun and exciting for me to do as a hobby, but not letting it feel like a burden, like I always have to film, and then falling out of love with reading. Like that's a concern and makes me nervous, but I feel like I'll be able to balance the two very well. And why do you love reading? I mean, it's cliche to say that you want an escape, but books do that for you. Same for any other kind of like media entertainment. So with thrillers and mysteries specifically, I feel like I have to think a little more critically while reading, and I can't just like fly through it or skim through, because you have to look at every little detail, which might bother some people if they're wanting like quick reads where they don't have to think too much. But with the jobs that I have, I'm an assistant wedding planner and floral designer, so I'm always like thinking about little details. I have a lot of fun when it comes to reading like these kind of books where I have to like make little extra notes and basically try to solve the murder or mystery as the character is doing it, but trying to beat them within solving it and who the killer or etc. is. And then what does your book collection look like? I don't really think I have the biggest collection. I think it's pretty like modest and like an average amount of books that I have. I only have a tiny bookshelf, so I don't have a lot of space for them either. And since I don't really like the way books look on a shelf, they kind of like all the colors and designs makes my brain feel a little cluttered at times. I keep them away in a little basket on my shelf so I can like show you the collection, like what the setup looks like. But I do have a few books from like the same author, or I forget the name of the series. Her name might be Serena Valentino, question mark. She has the backstories for Disney villains, so that's been a fun series. I do have that. I've had a few manga before. I still technically have them, but they are on my like for sale list. Yeah, I don't think I have a big collection by any means. I'm also trying to be a little better about that. So I have a library card, and I do use up my like Spotify audiobook hours pretty well. So I'm like trying to find ways to save money and like not spend so much on books, because that can pile up pretty quickly. But yeah, I think there'll always be certain authors that I want to buy for. I like my tiny bookshelf. I love the idea of having a big one, but I also like having it very maintained. But yeah, definitely jealous over some of these huge like reading nooks that people have. Yeah, I'll let you see the collection. Okay, and here is my bookshelf. As you can see, like I said, pretty small, so I've had to be creative in getting these baskets to organize a few more books than I could originally fit on my shelf if I didn't have them. So I'm gonna go through these in a second, but first I just want to show you these. The left pile here are recent ones that I've gotten either for myself or as a gift from my mom. This one I'm so excited to get into. This is the one that is being turned into a movie. It came out this month, so I have yet to watch the movie. I want to read the book first, but M. Night's daughter will be directing it, and it'll be her very first movie, which is very exciting. So I'm looking forward to reading this and kind of comparing it to the movie as well. I, of course, have to read the Housemaid series before the next one comes out. Very excited for Meddling Kids. It is like a Scooby-Doo inspired series, and I grew up loving Scooby-Doo and still do. And then I recently got A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series as well. And then these are the books that I received for the Amazon book sale. And this top section is where I keep either my library books or my currently reading books. So I am technically currently reading these three. I started this one first and I didn't fall out of it. I still really enjoy it. I just got distracted by other things. I got this one while on vacation during my like sister's wedding, so that one I'm kind of in the middle of as well, and then I'm rushing to read this one before I need to return it. And these two I did renew, so I don't have to return them as soon, which is good because I haven't gotten to them yet at all. So this basket holds that Disney villain series I was mentioning, along with some of the manga that I want to keep. This series, if you've never read any manga and you're like kind of interested, I would really recommend these. These are really, really fun. More horror based, and I just randomly found them one day in the bookstore and was intrigued by the covers and fell in love. I don't know if they have a fourth one yet, and I'm not sure if they're making one, but I need to always keep an eye out for that. I also recommend Ibitsu. Very, very creepy. And this will be my first Junji Ito read as well. I haven't gotten into this one yet, but I'm excited to get into that one. Okay, this is one of my other piles that I have. The very bottom I have like the random BuzzFeed Unsolved book that I have yet to go through. I do have a few Grady Hendrix books along with some Riley Sager. And the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires is something I really want to read this summer. I have yet to do so, and I'm definitely going to put it on probably my July TBR. And then these are just kind of like a little more like fun fall reads, I would say. These are the like royal history or historical fiction books that I would recommend. This like specifically, like she's amazing. And then a few Stephen King. I've been debating annotating it, and I feel like that's a crazy decision, but I've been so tempted lately. And Carrie, and then my very old beat up Twilight. I've been like kind of wanting to get the box set for this because I'm not sure if I even have the rest of the series back home, so it'd be kind of just nice to reread those and have a nice set. But that's like a good portion of my collection. And this is the last of my collection. I did count all of them. I have 69 exactly. And now listen, I have this bad habit of collecting books, obviously, but I have only read maybe like part of this book. And then I got obsessed with like the idea of this author, Darcy Coates, and so I like bought a bunch of her books. Paris Apartment was good. That was like one of the first thrillers that I read whenever I was like heavily getting back into reading. Episode 13 has such a fun like plot line. They're filming for a paranormal investigative show. And then Flicker in the Dark was another one that I read for book club. It was pretty good. I really enjoyed Final Girl Support Group. It was very, I guess you could say like camp horror, you know. It referenced a lot of the classic slasher films, so it was really fun. Loved Rock, Paper, Scissors. Some people don't love it that much, but I really enjoyed it. It's definitely, to me at least, a reread. And then Mother Thing is one that I've been kind of waiting for Thanksgiving. I know that's very random, but it's more like a family-oriented horror, which seems like it would be perfect for like Thanksgiving thrills. And then this one I'm very excited for. I started to dive into it a little bit, as you can see like the bookmark here, but I haven't continued yet. So this was my attempt to get a little bit of a romance but still have that thriller aspect of it. She just basically thinks that her new neighbor might be a serial killer, and I was in Target kind of checking it out, and a girl like that was beside me recommended it, so I'll let you know if it's actually like a good mix of like romance and thriller. Okay, if you made it through the video, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm very excited for this like new jobby, this new journey and hobby. I guess job is a new word. And yeah, I just hope you come back and join me, read along with me, anything, just whatever. Thank you so much again. See you soon. Bye. With thrillers and mysteries, I think about